We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air. President Roosevelt has just announced.
Since the beta, people started using demo rushes and grenadiers and half-tracks, and it seems to be pretty effective as a diversion.
Deutschland von 1 hat 3/4 die Waffen niedergelegt. Ich habe grundsätzlich immer erfüllt.
Mirror matches are a tricky thing. Lots of people do want the mirror matches, but there's their balance problems, you know? I mean, one of the things that I like to talk about...
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island.
This is Bridge 1 to TSN Central. Tales of Heroes is a go. Repeat, Tales of Heroes is a go. Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tales of Heroes. It's week number 3. We have an excellent matchup for you here tonight. It is Lorraine. That's right, a 2v2 matchup. 2 versus 2 in company of heroes. This is going to be an excellent match here. If you want to see any other of these videos, you can head on over to the website, tales.tsncentral.com, tales.tsncentral.com. You can find them in our on-demand system or in podcast form. We now have the podcast form for the videos, so if you, for some reason, can't watch the streaming video, head on over to the podcast section. It's on the right-hand side of that website, T-A-L-E-S, tales.tsncentral.com. So, let me introduce my co-host for this evening, my co-commentator, as it were. Vitensby, welcome. Welcome again, as always.
Good to be here, and welcome to everyone that's watching.
Alrighty, so we are on Lorraine. Let's talk about the map first, then we'll talk about the players. The map is very interesting. It, of course, 3 victory points. You got 1 in the south, 1 in the middle, and 1 in the north. Now, we were discussing this a lot earlier before the show, and it seems to me and to you that the Allies have a very heavy influence in the southern part of the map, simply because they start so close to it, and because they have 1, 2, 3, 4 points within easy reach of their starting location with many different avenues. Look at this. They have like 3 different roads they can take, and back roads, and many different areas, free-form paths to get to this southern area and to the victory point. The axes are restricted to 1 avenue of approach. Everything here, this all blocks. You cannot come to any portion of this south part of the map without going through this road. So it's very restrictive to the Axis. The Allies can set up some defenses here at the victory point and know that the Axis coming from their base, taking the shortest route, are going to have to come through here. They can put up tank traps, mines, very easily. So the south portion of the map takes the defending much easier for the Allies. Likewise, the northern portion of the map is much more closely tied to the Axis side. It's sort of a symmetrical system where now the Axis has easy access, pardon the pun, to the munitions points over here, and at the top you're almost sure that the Allies are going to come, if they're coming from their base, from this direction. They're going to have to come right on this road, and so you can sort of play into that and, you know, count on that happening. It's also a little bit easier for the Axis to, control this northern part of the middle and the Allies to control the southern part of the middle. So that's pretty even overall. I think the one part of the map that's a little bit uneven is if you notice the fuel point at the southern victory point, and then, there's 2 fuel points. Let's notice the one right here that is just north of the southern victory point. And that sort of corresponds, it's the closest to the Axis base, with this fuel point up here, which is the closest to the Allied base. But I would contend that this fuel point near the Allied base is much easier for the Axis to get than this fuel point is for the Axis. Than this fuel point is. You know what? Let's start again. This would be... Never mind. I disagree with myself. Let's go. Vitensby, any other strategic comments you wanted to make on this map?
Yeah, I was actually going to disagree with you as well, but since we both agree now, that's fine.
I disagree with myself, therefore we win. Agree to disagree with myself. Yeah. All right. Sorry, go ahead. Any other comments? I think we were mentioning the middle house here is going to become very important.
Yeah, that early game, that rush for the middle house is very important. It's the only point in the entire center of the map that you can actually garrison. There is that house that's a little bit closer to the Axis base, and there is one that's slightly above it, next to that car. But that middle point where the house is the only point that covers that victory point and that strategic point. It's important for either side to control it because, as you can see, if you control the center, it's pretty much an easy walk to the Allies' fuel point on the right of that, or an easy walk to the Axis fuel point on the left of that. If you play as Allies, I usually like to take the medium munitions point on the right before I go with the fuel, because I rush to the center and put a engineer or a pioneer, if I'm playing Axis, in that building just to reserve the spot for an MG to come. There are ways to flush it out, but once you get a sniper backing it up, it's pretty hard. You can put an MG in that building that's by the car, and it will fire back and forth, although I've noticed that the building in the center will win almost every time. So really, if you get an MG in there, and then a sniper, and maybe even a mortar, I like to put a mortar in that crater to the right of it, you got a pretty good stronghold / choke point. For the first couple games I played as Axis, I would always try to get the south, and then I realized it's better just to push for the north and send all your forces to the north, both players. The reason is because, as Bridger said, it's pretty close to the Allies' base. You have one avenue to go through. It's really difficult to go through that avenue, especially if they build defenses there early on. It's key to control the top of the map as Axis, because if you look and you control the entire top of the map, then the Allies will be restricted down to the 3 munitions point and 2 fuel, where you will have 5 munitions points and 4 fuel, as well as 2 strategic point advantage, and they will have no strategic points. One thing as a reminder, is next to the Axis base there's a medium munitions point. A lot of Allied players push in the south, cap some points, and then about 2 minutes into the game they got a rifleman squad or engineer squad taking that medium munitions point from you. Therefore, I think it might be advisable to put a observation post on that early on, unless you really want to fight over that, which is going to detract your forces from the center, and it's very easy to harass that point. I like to think that this map is pretty fairly balanced. There's a lot of cover for the Allies, and there's still some open areas, more so in the north with the large roads than there is in the south, where it's clumped up with buildings.
I gotta say,
if you control this,
go ahead. I was just gonna say that this map is one of the most awesome eye candy maps. I mean, look at this gorgeous design. Like, it doesn't look gamey at all necessarily. I mean, you see this road that goes around. It's a nice little sort of a hill for the, I guess, more wealthy people in this community. You've got bigger houses over here up on the hill with nice, archways and things like that. And look at this. You have destruction starting at the very beginning, as if bombers had come overboard and dropped the bombs right over here, and there's rubble in the road. I mean, it's gorgeous. So go ahead. Last tactical considerations, then we'll start the game.
No more tactical considerations. Just if you hold the center, your troops can even play the piano, or if you hold the north, they can pray in that church up there. So yeah, just a couple quick observations about the map layout. That's all.
All right, my cat decided it wants to come sit on my keyboard, and that's not going to be allowed. There you go. All right, so let's start the game, unpausing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, boom. Okay, and let's also mention, I believe you have the statistics for these players. Eye of the Storm, Crackbone, Beggs, and Ray, all top 50 players?
Pretty much. Either playing as Allies or Axis, they're all top 50 players. Eye of the Storm, he goes Airborne in this game, is ranked, he plays Allies, he's ranked 99 Allies, 66 Axis. Crackbone, I probably would consider him one of the people I'm more familiar with online. He goes infantry. He's 28 as Allies in 2v2. He has a good friend, Neris, and we always match up almost every day. Axis is Ray and Beggs. Ray goes Blitz. He's 78 as Axis, a little bit stronger as Allies, number 29. And Beggs goes Terror. He's 33 Axis and 48 Allies. So all of these players are highly competitive people. and I consider all of them excellent players, so it should be a really good match.
Certainly, we'll see what happens in this game as it unfolds. We see both players sort of sending a couple units towards the center. The Allies are a lot closer to that house. They're probably going to be able to reserve it for an MG. And we'll see probably who is this Eye of the Storm, already producing an MG right there, sending it down that way. And as you can see, yep, there goes the engineers right into the house to reserve it for their machine gun. I still think they should have somehow put storming into the game so that you could storm a house. But, you know, I don't think they're going to do it at this point, but I still think that would have been cool. But see, here comes the machine gun for Beggs on the Axis side as well. But they're not going to be able to get in that house because there's there's engineers in there. So hopefully this Volk squad is going to be all that he needs. And here comes the Allied MG. It's headed for that house. Are they going to be able to kill it before it gets there? It does not look like they're going to even hit a single casualty. Not good. They got to get out of there before it starts firing. And they have. Here comes the Axis MG is actually setting up inside of this building here to help block off any Allied counterattacks. These Pioneers are playing Ring Around the Rosie of this house. They're going to have to retreat soon or get chewed up by that. There they go. They've retreated. So, Vitensby, again, we're seeing, like we said, a very Allied control south and Axis controlled north at this point.
Right, and it's always smart just to keep pushing for the north, as I always do, and I stated the reasons why beforehand. I think that what the Allies are doing is very smart. You can double rifle spam on this map, but you really need those early mortars and weapon support center units, especially if the Axis gets control of that building. The positioning of the Wehrmacht corps is very strong because the roads aren't necessarily near the HQ, so you want to build it a little bit forward. That's why Ray built his Wehrmacht almost in the other. I think, yeah, he built it in the other guy's territory. So I like the positioning so far, and I think that the weapon support combo with barracks is pretty strong. And especially that the guy in the north went weapon support center. That's always better because you need the extra capping power in the south with riflemen.
Yep, and it looks like they try to take this munitions point over here, chased him off. And this is the Jeep kind of, sitting there getting owned. The top fell off. The driver's like, let's get the heck out of here. And Axis taking a lot longer to get the northern portion of the map here than the Allies. The Allies have had the southern portion for a good chunk of the time, and the Allies are actually taking back some of the neutral points in the north. The Axis has had this extra fuel point here for a while, which is usually good. What do we got going on over here? In the south, Vitensby, we have some Volksgrenadiers versus some riflemen, which are inside of that house. I believe those are riflemen in there. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it looks like engineers in there.
Yeah, if you look in the window, it's an engineer squad.
And another rifle.
Which is cool because you can actually look in the window.
Yeah, that is cool.
And there's some mortar action going on from, let's see, Eye of the Storm's base into that building. Actually, the guy already retreated. But they had tried to lock down the center road by putting an MG in that building by the fountain.
And now it looks like...
I personally...
Sorry, go ahead.
I personally think that going for the south with just 2 Volks, unless you're going to go gung-ho for the south with everything, I really think it's a mistake, especially as you see now he has to retreat, because just 1 MG can push that back completely. So I think that they're probably wasting a lot of time down there, whereas they could have just solidified the north more, maybe even forced them out of the center if they got an early sniper.
Yeah, so this is not good for the Axis on the south here, but they have the north seemingly in good control. They had lost all 3 victory points, so the score now is 500 to 421. They're taking back the north right here. So certainly things are going okay. Look at this. They've got 3 observation post fuel points already, and the Allies don't have any. They have finally taken back this fuel point. They have had only these 2 early in the game, so we're probably going to see the Axis hit vehicles first.
especially considering the riflemen over here have bars. I thought I heard something interesting. We've got a Browning automatic rifle which costs 60 fuel, and already they spent that fuel, so probably the Allies are going to be taking a little bit longer to get towards tanks or vehicles in general.
And especially because I'm sure that they went early bars because they saw maybe 4 or 5 squads of Volksgrenadiers on the field, so they pretty much figured it was a good idea. I like the fact that Beggs is laying mines. It's going to prevent the enemy from even thinking about taking that medium munitions point if just one of those goes off. It'll be interesting to see if the Allies make a push for that munitions point again, or if they just hold their gains.
Yeah, big loss there. We saw, actually, in the middle, an MG-42 squad stealing a munitions point, but completely ignored as the rifleman came over, charged it, and destroyed it. I mean, I don't think he was looking at it at all, and that was a big error right there, because machine guns cost a lot.
Yep. Mines are great for psychological warfare. If you run over one of those, all of a sudden your opponent thinks, oh my god, there must be mines everywhere, so... it's great for psychological warfare as well as what it actually does. There's some great sniper action going on in the south with the sniper in a building, which makes it pretty much invulnerable right now.
Yeah, in fact, that Jeep trying to kill the sniper but ran right into the machine gunner that's up here, so he got destroyed. Now, the Volks, I don't know why he's charging with the Volks. He can just pick them off with that sniper for as long as he wants. As long as he keeps the sniper in this crater somewhere, he can continue to pick them off. He didn't need to assault with those Volks. And something that's really interesting is none of his Volks have MP40s yet. I mean, we are at least 5 minutes into the game here, and they have OPs on these munitions points. Why aren't they spending the munitions on MP40s? Is that a mistake?
My guess is we know he went Blitz, or one of them went Blitz at least, so he's probably saving for stormtroopers with Panzer Shreks, and one of them might be Beggs might be going Tier 2 to save up for Grenadiers with Shreks, or Grenadier grenades, or maybe a well-placed Panzerfaust. I'm not entirely sure, but certainly the MP40s might have helped out, although combining that against bars, I'm not sure if it would have been wise at this point, because bars would just suppress immediately before they even got in range to use those MP40s to their full advantage.
That's true. It might, I mean, certainly bars are a counter to MP40s, and not the other way around. But the Allies have this in very secure suppression here. And again, he's picking them off really well. He's got the sniper over there. He's going to be able to pick off that machine gun if he just stays there. But I think he sees there's a Jeep coming, so it's not a good idea.
And now he has Crackbone has a forward HQ in that building, so any losses he takes is just immediately going to be reinforced.
Yeah, and that's just making this a very, very tough place to be. And he might be able to do something if he pushes this MG-42 over behind this this heavy cover, because the MG-42 has a longer range. He can engage that machine gun in the building. His sniper can engage the MG in the building. Instead, he pushes his infantry forward into the machine gun fire, leaving nothing to defend this squad here. Oh no! A grenade! That's not good! Oh my lord! It killed at least 3 guys, 1 machine gunner left, 2 Volks die too. Those flaming pioneers were good, but dang, you cannot let the riflemen get that close. Mortars are now coming in. Uh-oh, that was really close to the machine gun. This is bad news. There we go, the last machine gunner is dead. Charging was not good plan here. He needs snipers and mortars to flush this out. He can't just charge bars and machine guns. And 1 sniper was not enough. Very nice counter with the grenade and the flanking. Wow, excellent job.
Allies are doing a great job of locking down the south despite heavy resistance and harassment going on down there. I still think it's not worth it to fight over the south. You just put all your efforts into the north and you'll probably end up strangleholding them and getting out units and having a munitions advantage, tank units, a lot faster than the Allies would be able to. But both teams are doing their best right now, and I think that with all those observation posts that the Axis has on the 2 munitions points and the 3, or did they take that down? Yeah, there's an Airborne in the north that used recoilless and presumably a satchel charge on that the northeastern fuel point. So they lost the observation post, but now it looks like they're going for a push for the center, so it should be pretty interesting to see what happens here, how the counter comes. With 2 snipers, a Jeep, and a Volks, they might have some problems to retake that.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to be retaking it here. I think they had a sniper, 2 snipers, take out the machine gun in that center building, and that Jeep is in trouble. I mean, there's still 2 snipers here, which are going to start picking off these riflemen. These riflemen are going to get completely chewed up. The MP40s, Volks, oh my lord, they're gone! They're gone! Dead! Wow! Execution style. Those Airborne got 375 manpower going completely to waste. There goes a Jeep. This could be the start. Oh, wait a minute. They were so close to capping the middle, and they stopped just short. That's what I didn't notice. I thought they had it. Oh no! Another grenade takes out almost an entire Volksgrenadier squad! Oh no! Yeah. Those riflemen are just chewing them to pieces at this point. Finally, a machine gun in the middle house. It's very important that the Axis got that there. Forcing the Allies to retreat. Another sniper shot as well. What they really need is take that middle point. Okay, they're finally taking the middle point here. Unfortunately, it looks like they're losing the north from this Airborne squad.
That mortar has a ridiculously long range. If you look in that courtyard north of where the Allied fuel point is, observation post, he's mortaring from all the way over there into that house, and that is incredibly powerful. There's also some barbed wire and tank traps going up on the right by Ray.
Oh no, another grenade! And it, wow, kills another 2 or 3 people. Those grenades are absolutely destroying these Volks. Let's hope the Axis have something to combat those riflemen. And there it is, a flak panzer coming onto the field, ready to do some damage. They're holding the middle, but they've got to retake the north, and that's probably where they're going. Go ahead.
They also have a Puma, the Axis armored car, going to the south. I personally probably would have kept them together. They would have done better that way, but I think he might be doing some scouting to see if there's anything down there. Personally, I might have went for a Stug, since you already have the flak panzer, and they might have armor on the way, which it looks like. Yeah, they are building some sort of tank out of the tank depot that Eye of the Storm has right now.
Well, let's see what it is. It's a Sherman. Bad news for the flak panzer and the armored car. That Sherman is going to be easily able to destroy both of them.
Despite failed attempts in the south, I still think Axis has a chance to retake this game, even though they're down by 200 points right now.
See, here I think they're failing in the north. The flak panzer went and completely destroyed everything in the north. But why is, I believe it's Ray, not sending anything to go help? I mean, here comes his squads. I guess they're probably going to the north here. But they really need to take back the north, put the pressure over here, and hold the middle. But this isn't going to be good, because here comes the Sherman. That armored car is pretty much dead. And it's going to try and get away, but not so fast. A half-track here as well as a Sherman. The half-track is probably going to be able to, I don't know. Oh, there he goes, upgraded with the Quad 50. Is going to easily take down this machine gunner. I don't know if he's even got a chance to get a retreat. He's going to try and retreat, but no. When you've got 4 machine guns staring you in the face. And that's a good game. Machine gunner after machine gunner getting destroyed here in the middle. I believe the Allies are going to have to take this one back. Oh, as he drives into a building. GG. GG.
We have a flak panzer running into the Allies' base. We'll see if that can do any damage on the right side.
I see it, and he's got a forward base over here. I didn't see this one before. I don't know why he built a forward base right next to his base. It seems odd.
Go ahead.
Oh, EyeoftheStorm just built a Sherman, so it looks like he's got the proper counter in there. And now another Sherman's coming to engage. That's going to be trouble as the Flak Panther tries to run away real quick, but not going anywhere fast.
Ouch. Good night, Saigon. That one made no sense. Moving on, let's check out the middle here. As the Allies have taken back the middle points and are still putting the pressure 500 to 263 here. They've got another machine gun in the middle house. Allied attack up the hill here. Looks to be not so successful. And we've got a Stug and a Puma in the south. This is actually a good push. It could use some infantry support at this point, though. And it does have some infantry support. Those Volksgrenadiers completely destroying that AT gun. So that leaves the Stug free to engage over here. There's only a unupgraded Sherman at this point, taking out another Flak Panzer that's completely unsupported. I think that's a big mistake they're making here. The Flak Panzer is just sort of, you know, he's sending multiple Flak Panzers to their death without really accomplishing anything.
That's certainly a problem. I think also if they would have kept their forces more together and made solid pushes together, as you see the Stug just got sticky bombed, they would have had, keeping their tanks together, their infantry together, would have allowed them to mix up their units better, put up a slow push, and then just engage once they had pushed back the enemy and take over the south.
And there's the Sherman. It actually walked. Nice positioning. He's got a Panzerfaust to kill the Sherman. He's got an AT gun on the other side. The Stug on the other side. Very nice. But he really desperately, another sticky bomb. That's not good. Really desperately needs. He needs some engineers, some pioneers down here to repair this thing. If he can repair it, he's okay. He's got a pioneer to defend it. He's got an AT gun over here as well. He needs to back it up and try and repair it. There goes oh no, an M10. I think that's going to be good night for the Stug. He's trying his best to get out of there. Oh, it missed. It bounced off the armor. Stug could get maybe one good shot in on the M10. Another bounce off the armor. The M10's going to be able to flank it here, I think.
Looks like a Firestorm's coming down as well on the HQ.
Not doing too much. There's nothing there. He moved out of the way. So that's what happened is he tried to get the M10 with the Firestorm, but the M10 managed to escape fairly handily. Wow.
I think it's an interesting strategy that Ray teched up to Tier 4. I wonder what was going through his mind at this point, as opposed to doing a Tier 2, then late tech to Tier 4. So you got early Grenadiers and AT guns and mortar support for the Tier 3 units, as well as, since they had so many Volks on the field, they could have made some gains with just some Tier 2 support. I wonder what was going through his mind just to go straight out Tier 4.
Well, I think going for the Ostwinds was a good move, I think. The problem was he just sort of wasted it because, you know, he sent the Ostwinds off to their death and really didn't accomplish anything with them. If he had just kept the Ostwinds together, kept both the Ostwinds together, kept them with some other anti-tank stuff with a Stug or two, that would have gone a long way towards actually, putting some pressure on the Allies. But he just sent the Ostwinds off to their death. They killed maybe 2 infantry before they died. Uh-oh. Sherman walking right into a Stug in the middle. Looks like the Panzerschrecks are going to do some damage here, but not before it gets the Stug. And here they go. Oh, wow! It got 2 of those Stormtroopers before it died. Not good news. Stormtroopers are going to be retreating. And they're picking up all the Panzerschrecks.
Airborne just picked up a Panzerschreck.
Exactly.
Yep.
That is not good. The Volks retreating from the Panzerschreck. It's now got 2 Panzerschrecks completely.
The Axis are doing a great job of controlling the map in the north. They got the Allies a little bit on pause here. as far as taking the north, but I think now they might have some trouble because they don't really have any units on the field anymore.
Yeah, they need to get something to take back that middle, because the south is just a lost cause at this point. Look, we got AT guns, we've got their HQ down here, there's an M10, there's tons of stuff, but again, the M10's sitting there unrepaired. It looks like both, I mean, I never go through a match without engineers, you know, ready, on cue to run anywhere I want and repair my stuff. But let me see, we've got an engineer back at the base. Both sides have, both allies have one engineer. I always have two, at least, usually 3 engineers to repair my tanks. I think that's a big mistake by both sides.
Eye of the Storm just dropped a supply drop in his base, and he's dropped one for Crackbone to pick up. I really think at this point those extra munitions and fuel that they're getting is probably keeping them in this game and preventing the Axis from making any real significant gains.
Yep, there's no real help. I mean, he's sending these infantry in to just, I mean, against impossible odds. I mean, they're sending them in one at a time over here. Finally, they have a Panther popping out. That's good news. They just need to support it well this time, because, you know, it seems like every time they attack, it's with one thing or maybe two units that don't really complement each other. And that seems to be the big issue here. Here comes the Panther.
Right, I think Axis is always better played when you do big pushes as opposed to little engagements, where allies have riflemen, which are just an all-purpose unit, so you don't really have to be afraid of too much.
Sticky bomb on the Panther, bad news! Oh, he's a lot of destroyed engine here in the middle of the game. Rangers coming out. But here comes a Tiger Ace to join the battle. Panther and Tiger Ace could do a lot of damage here.
Oh, certainly. I'm just wondering where the Tigers were for Ray at this point. If Beggs has a Tiger Ace, certainly he should have had the tech, unless he went for the manpower blitz early. I don't know. I would have expected a Tiger to join in.
Oh no!
It's interesting though.
He hit the Panther by accident.
That's
oh no! The Tiger destroys! Wow! 1, 2, 3 bodies flying through the air, even as the Rangers try and pick up those Panzer Shreks.
And the Panther returned the favor by shooting the Tiger Ace in the rear as well.
Very nice. The Tiger could absolutely destroy the squad, just get a nice shot onto the squad, or get the M10 here as well. The M10 shot is deflected, but uh-oh! Anti-tank rounds from that AT gun hurting the Tiger Ace. The Tiger Ace is just going to go through here and plow through a wall.
Yeah, Crackbone is microing that M10 extremely well against the Tiger Ace. He's constantly moving. He's not letting that turret rotate to its target, and I think that's the way you should use
Tiger's in trouble.
Tanks always.
One more shot from the AT gun. Is it going to be able to get out? No! Not good. That could be...
You got a firestorm going down in the middle. That's pretty nice.
Ooh, nice. It takes out the AT gun just about 10 seconds too late for it to really do anything.
And the poor piano just got split in half.
Oh no! It'll never play the same again.
No more music.
No more music for Lorraine. But at this point, we're 493 to 153. The Allies have a clear advantage right now. They've got tanks, they've got AT guns here, they've got AT guns down here. Right now, the Axis need one big push. They've got another, they've still got the Panther. Why hasn't it been repaired yet? There it is, it's finally getting repaired. Okay. This is going to require one big push to the middle. But uh-oh, they're taking the north now.
That bunker that they placed is the bunker they placed is in an excellent position to protect anything from coming up from the center to harassing the north. You have to go all the way around to harass the northern points, and I think that's a key location for stopping the Allies for advancing further north early on. That bunker's been up for quite a while. Also, he has 2 mines there, if you notice. Let's see if that Sherman runs into it.
Oh, yeah, there's one, and there's one. Right there. Excellent positioning. The Sherman, this is some excellent micro, backing up into a tiny little alley. That's like a really good position to put the Sherman. It's very, you can't flank the Sherman in that position. You could have some very well-protected engineers behind the Sherman, healing it if required.
I think if they can come out with another, well, they just took my advice. They came out with another Tiger Ace, and with the Panther and an Ostwind, that's pretty much going to counter anything that's going to be thrown at them. I think they have a pretty good chance of retaking the center right now.
Yeah.
Just considering there is one AT gun, but it's at half health.
Right, they're going to have to do it soon. They're down to 100 victory points right now, and the Allies have retaken the north here. So that is definitely not a good thing. The M10, wow! Both mines having exploded. Did they destroy one of these tanks with those mines, or did they destroy infantry?
I can't. Did the M10 run over it? I didn't.
No, the
see it.
M10's
I'm
at full
surprised.
health, so it might have been something else that they had to pull back and heal. Oh, there it is. The Sherman is pulling back and healing. I think that might have ran over both mines.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And here comes the Panther. He's going to try and hit that M10 in the back. The Sherman's coming out nice to flank it. Instead, he just turns the Panther around to get hit twice in the back. Not a good way to go. Oh, and here comes the Tiger Ace down. I thought there was an AT gun down. Oh. There was an AT gun down here. But the Tiger coming up through the middle.
Yeah.
Good place to come. But he's got an M10 to his right. I don't think he notices it. That's not good. See, the problem is he's charging right through. Instead of attacking slowly and covering his rear, he's exposing his rear to the M10 for flanking. He's got hit with a sticky bomb. That AT gun is in a very nice position. Even as a firestorm comes in, I don't know if it's going to get out of there in time. It's not. Good night. Oh no, this is what you don't do. When you're trying to shoot a tank right next to you with a Tiger, you cannot rotate the Tiger because the Tiger won't be able to turret traverse fast enough. See how it's, he's driving in the wrong direction. He finally turned around and got the M10 though. We're at 20 victory points here.
He was trying to flank them, and instead the Tiger Ace got flanked.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I'm surprised that Ray didn't push with Beggs here together.
How did they not die? I watched a Ranger squad, or that must have been an Airborne squad, throw a satchel charge, then retreat. They retreated directly through the satchel charge as the satchel charge exploded. They retreated right through it and didn't die. That's pretty impressive. And the game finished because they had zero victory here.
Perfect ending with that airplane in the top north. You can still see it. Just did a strafing run. It's a nice little finish.
It's very cool that they're actually drawn and not just, a random shadow that comes over the map.
Yep. I think in that final push, if they would have had better communication better combined efforts in that middle coordination, there we go.
Oh,
they would have
poor
been
Tiger
able to
and
take
its
it back.
ruined gun. Ah, that's sad. The might of the German army was defeated today through, I think, many errors on the Axis part. They did not have any defense at the north. After they'd taken it and they held it, they took it, they lost it, and they took it back again. But they never had a concerted effort to just hold it. They didn't have machine guns up there. They didn't have any kind of bunkers. I mean, they did put. I think at one point they had some barbed wire over here. But, a satchel charge opens up this area here, or it might have been opened up already. You can go around that. So that was some decent defense, but they had no defense moving up there to try and defend it. So they lost it twice. They attacked the south too much when it's very heavily defended and very easily defended by the Allies. And they didn't concentrate enough on the middle. And when they did, they sort of just sent their tanks willy-nilly through the enemy lines instead of stopping and shooting at things,
so that they didn't get flanked. They got flanked almost every time with all their tanks. I mean, I can't count the number of rear shots I saw on the Panther. Then we had the problem with the Flak Panzer just running into the enemy base for no reason. I mean, I don't know if they were just like giving up at that point or what. What do you think?
Well, I think if the biggest mistake might have been had Ray gone, at least gotten a Krieg Barracks, maybe one AT gun with camo, and tried to hold the center that way, and got some Grenadiers, which, well, maybe it wouldn't have been so wise to get Grenadiers with the Panzerschrecks, but a mortar team or two certainly would have helped out in those battles where those riflemen were just kind of clumped up. I don't know if it was so wise to go straight to Tier 4 without getting any other buildings except the Wehrmacht. I think both sides played it pretty well, just maybe the Axis could have concentrated their forces better together. It seemed like, and those pushes in the south, as you had mentioned, were just suicide operations. They really weren't going anywhere. Even if they would have taken back, as they did, that fuel point, the +5 fuel north of the point, north of the victory point at one point, I don't think it would have been any gain. I think maybe the Axis were playing more for an annihilation victory, whereas the Allies seem to be playing more based on points. Certainly the Ostwind in their base might kind of support that theory. They still had a Panther and an Ostwind on the field at the very end. It would have been interesting to see if the game was a little longer, if they could have came back from this. I think the lack of Tigers from Ray's Blitz might have also contributed, especially because you get a Stormtrooper squad with the Tiger, so it's pretty affordable. I would say he probably went for the manpower Blitz. That's how they had so many. He had so many like Volks and snipers early on. That's my guess, and not as much MP40s. I like the Tier 3 strategy. I think that maybe getting 2 Pumas first wouldn't have been that well advised, because you ran into tanks as soon as you got the Ostwinds out on the field, and if you have Ostwinds and Stugs, it's a pretty great combination to take care of anything. And just holding what they had would have been better than trying to attack in the south. In fact, if you can completely ignore the south, I've said it before, and you can just hold the north and then push to the south, you will be successful because you hold far more than the Allies do. Overall, I think both sides played it pretty well. It's just the Allies had those early bars and those grenades that just made it miserable for the Axis to do anything. And later on, their Sherman micro was excellent, as well as the N10 micro. And the gunners on top of the Shermans also helped out. Those gunners increased it from a 5 normal damage to an 8, and that's extremely potent. Other than that, I think, like I said, both sides played it very well. I think the supply drops really helped out the Allies, maybe more than it should have. Maybe the cost or the benefit.
That's how they. I was just looking at the fuel, and I'm like, how did the Allies get an extra 200 fuel when the Axis had OPs on 3 of them for much of the game? It must have been those supply drops helped them a lot with the fuel. I didn't think that. I thought it might be more even, but I didn't think the Allies would have that much more. But yeah, the Allies had a little bit more fuel. The Axis certainly had more munitions. But yeah, I think better combat micro, especially the grenades. I can't count the number of times we saw grenades kill off 2, 3, or 4 or more Axis infantry that were grouped up together.
Right. The scores would certainly say at pretty much, wow, very even scores, 18,500 for both of the Allies. And the Axis actually got higher scores, but they lost on victory points by 1,000 points if you look at that. So it was a very even game. Maybe the Axis played it slightly better, like 1% better than the Allies did in the long run. It's just they weren't able to hold the points at all, since this final score was, 493 to 0. So yeah, that certainly was what turned the tide of the game, and those supply drops is my guess.
I guess
Infantry
the Axis
and Airborne is really, really strong.
The Axis just did not concentrate enough, I guess, on the victory points and holding the north. They attacked too much at the south. That pretty much sums it up, I think. So I guess that's it. Any final comments?
Nope, good game. It was enjoyable to watch, and congratulations to all the players. You know, I know it was a great experience to be on the show the first time I was playing, so I'm sure it's a great thrill for them. Just wanted to point that out.
Alrighty, well, without further ado, I will say goodnight to everybody, and just remind you, go to tales.tsncentral.com, T-A-L-E-S, .tsncentral.com. Let me remind you of what we got coming up this week. WSVG in London is this week. So Friday, starting at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be 10 a.m. over there, we will be broadcasting live from London. The WSVG World Series of Video Games stop in London, I think might be, I'm not sure, they might have one after that, and then they go to the Grand Finals in New York sometime in November. That's when they did it last year. I think that's probably when they're going to do it again. So that is going to be very exciting to watch. More Counter-Strike and Warcraft 3 coverage, I'm sure. You can go to the website, I think it's the WSVG, THEWSVG.com, has more information on the tournament itself. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, go check that out, and check out our coverage starting at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's about it for that. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am Bridger. Joining me tonight was Vitensby. Tales.tsncentral.com, GameReplays.org is the best forums you can find for Company of Heroes. Planet Company of Heroes keeps you up to date. PlanetCoh.com. Have a good night, everybody. And download the podcasts at Tales.tsncentral.com. Video and audio.
TSN, the Team Sportscast Network.
This broadcast is copyrighted 2006 by the Team Sportscast Network. Any copying, reproduction, redistribution, modification, rebroadcasting of any kind or any manner is expressly prohibited without the written permission of the Team Sportscast Network, LLC.